Um, in general, how would you say that you find new projects? Would you say that they come to you? Do your friends like share different jobs? Um, how do you find projects, and then how do you choose? You know, do you just will you just take a project if you say, oh, someone wants me to work, I'll work, or do you say, I want to work specifically on this, or I have to choose between this documentary and this documentary? Can you do both? Do you have to do one or the other? How do you do that?
Okay. Um, Regularly, I like work. I focus like in one big project at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and then like taking like small gigs besides the big job, which is it could be a TV series
Mm-hmm.
or it could be like a documentary film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently finishing one for a friend who lives in San Francisco in the Bay Area.
Cool.
Yeah, and what can I add? Yeah, I like to take like one job at a time,
Okay.
um, because you have to like put a lot of mental focus
Yeah,
on
of
it.
course. I think if you have more than one at the same time, you can't really
Yeah,
do it to the best way that you want to do it.
yeah, 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 exactly right. And I want to, well, I don't do like um, marketing and what's the word? Publicidad. When
Yeah,
you,
marketing, or you're saying you don't work on like commercials or
yeah, yeah, I don't do commercial stuff.
okay.
I tend to do like more artistic stuff. Like I work for other directors who are making documentaries or TV series
Mm-hmm.
in documentary style, and I tend to look for those projects. I haven't done like a fiction film, which I really like. Something I really would like to do.
To work on a fiction, like a
Yeah,
fantasy kind of thing. Okay.
not in filmmaking, but fiction film. You know, fiction films are a lot more expensive to do than
Mm.
documentary. So, well, the people that I work with are my film school mates and people from Valparaiso, different production companies, but here in Valparaiso.
Mm-hmm. How do you, or what would you say are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on? So I know you said you focus more on documentaries,
Uh-huh.
um, more than doing commercial work or stuff like that. I've gotten to see some of the work you've done with the video editing. What would you say are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
Um, well, I have many of those projects are like really into my craft because there's so much love and work put into them, not just from me, but from the whole team
Yeah.
behind. And and what I like about my job is that it gives you the possibility to know about so many different subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really like that part, like knowing different cultures, different people, different biographies, different themes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have worked in different projects. You know, there was one about which was about Chilean islands in the south of Chile,
Mm-hmm.
It was called Habitantes del Pacífico, Inhabitants of the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very cool project, and very like profound in the respect for the people who lived in those places. And well, another one was it recently won a prize in a film festival here in Chile. The project is called Yo Volveré a Triunfar, which is about an icon here in Valparaíso, which is a singer, a popular singer. He was Jorge Farias.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very famous character here in Valparaíso for many years, like many years ago. And he represents like some of the much deeper culture here in Valparaíso, you know. And that project is very special for me because the many of the characters in the documentary died during the filming, you know. And it was very special. And as I told you, it recently won a prize in a film festival in Inedit, which is a festival about musical documentaries.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that I think in a, I don't want to say traditional job, but a normal job, it's like you do this every day. This is, you know, you learn what to do, and then you know you learn how to do it better. But you know, I like you know, I love to learn about different topics, even if it's something that, you know, I think the cool thing about film is that if you present it in a certain way, you can make anything sound interesting. So
Yeah.
we have a phrase in English that someone says if something is very boring, they're gonna watch paint dry, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but if you make it, you know, you edit it correctly, maybe you can make paint drying look exciting. You know, maybe it's an
Yeah.
exaggeration, but I think it's something that in general, uh, people when they watch movies, they think about, oh, well, I want to be an actor, or I want to be a singer, or I want to do this and that. But I think there's so much that is done with editing of film and sound that, you know, if you watch a movie without sound, it's not a movie. You know, it plays such a big part, but it's not always the first thing that people notice with their eyes, you know. So I think that's really cool, and the ability to travel and, like you said, you know, go to southern Chile and the islands. I know I saw a project with people who did graffiti all over Latin America that you got to work on. And yesterday we were talking about a project with underground Chilean rappers, which is cool for me because I love, you know, hip hop music, and you know, it's I really think it's a great job. I know you said, oh, it's not it's interesting to me, but I don't think it's interesting to more people, but it is. It's a very cool job and a necessary job too.
Yeah, yeah. Super necessary. And yeah, people tend to not know what is the process of making a film, because you shoot and you record things,
Mhm.
but then you have to put it together, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's an exciting part. I see film editing like it's almost like an archaeological excavation where you have to find things
Hmm.
you can use, you know. And yeah, it's a lot of work behind the documentary film. They tend to documentary films tend to be like much uh, there's so much more time in the development of a documentary film than a fiction film,
Mm.
because you record and start to make footage about a subject or a theme. In that, this could be like years, following a character, and
Yeah.
then with that footage, which could be like a hard disk with hundreds of terabytes, or gigabytes,
Yeah.
and you have to film editing is about like putting things together,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the chunks, the chunks of film, like one after another, and you have to make sense out of it, and you don't always, and that's like the exciting part, you don't always, you think like you are going away through a way, and then you have to change directions, you start to edit a film and you don't even know where are you going to end, because in a fiction film there's a script, and in documentary film there's not always a script, and you never know where are you going to end.
Yeah, you never know when you ask someone a
Going to
question.
be like,
Yeah, you never know what someone's gonna say or do.
mm-hmm.
I think that makes it. I wouldn't say necessarily more interesting than working on a fiction film, but it does add the element of surprise. When
Oh
you
yeah.
interview someone that you've never met before, and then they start telling you a story that you didn't know they were gonna tell you, and
Uh-huh. And you think you are making a film about one thing, and then you discover that the film is about another thing,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that's very interesting too.
Yeah, I think that's well, when people think about movies, they probably think more about, going to see Wonder Woman or something. And I think there's a lot more that can maybe be learned from documentaries about, just humans in general, other than, superheroes going back and forth. So
Yeah.
I like the idea of the documentaries. Just to go into a little bit about, for people who don't understand what film editing is, could you just briefly describe, like, what's a typical day for you as a film editor?
Oh, well, there's different stages in
Mm,
the making of or in the post production
mm-hmm,
of a documentary, because first you have to like view all of the footage, and that could take like a month,
mm,
working from 5 to 6 hours a day, just looking the stuff that is in the hard disk,
mm,
and you take notes. And I like to start editing just after I see all of the footage. I never, almost never start editing anything without seeing all of the footage.
okay.
And then you start to edit things like I choose the parts that I think are interesting for the film, having had a talk with the director about the film, who are the characters, so I can just identify them, you know, the arc. There's maybe there's a dramatic arc that
Mm,
the director wished to follow,
mm-hmm,
so I have to find things that are related to that arc, um, and then just start putting them together.
so do you,
And hoping they make sense and in a at some point.
I imagine, is there a lot of like peer review where like you send this to the director or you send this to someone and they say, no,
Yeah.
you should change this. I imagine there's a lot of reviewing of things.
Yeah, reviewing. Well, we watch a lot the film with the director, and when we think it's like in a form that can be watched, like,
It makes sense.
and it makes some sense.
Yeah.
You can show it to someone else. I tend to trust some friends to show things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could organize like a focus group with some friends and their boyfriends or girlfriends who are not filmmakers at all, but
Right.
can watch the things, and they give me insights into what they find interesting, and just to know what people think when you make something, because you are into it like for so many months, you lose the perspective. You there's a point where you can't watch it like objectively anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have the outside look on
Yeah.
it.
I
Hmm.
can imagine that, the way that you watch movies is completely different from the way I watch movies because you're probably always noticing things and maybe I'm only focusing on the dialogue and you're focusing on the different cuts and everything.